Breaking news at 6 o'clock. 5 live fire drills are happening in North Korea this morning in an hour of in honor of the country's anniversary. South Korea's military says it involves more than 300 artillery pieces. And as you can imagine, these exercises are not easing tensions between the U.S. and the North. Well, another development that we've been following overnight, a U.S. nuclear-powered submarine arrived in South Korea in the port there. South Korea leaders say that the USS Michigan is visiting to allow crew shore leave and to stock up on supplies. They say that there are no plans for the submarine to participate in any naval drill. Well, this is just one of the stories that we'll be following next here on Local 6 Today.
WPSD Local 6, your breaking news and weather authority. This is Local 6 Today in high definition.
Well, veterans from Southern Illinois, they're loading up on that plane right there in honor for the honor flight today. This is a live look there at the tarmac. They're leaving from Marion and Korean. World War II veterans are going on the tour of the monuments in Washington, D.C. And we're lucky to have Local 6's Rachel Krause, who's traveling with the veterans. She'll be live for us in just a few minutes. Weather Authority John Champion here now at 6:01. Unfortunately for them, it's going to rain a little bit on them today.
Yeah, as we checked on the travel forecast just a few minutes ago, showers moving into D.C. Cloudy, a little cool, but we're still happy they're making the trip.
They're going to have fun.
Yes, there's no doubt about that no matter the weather. The weather around here looking great. In fact, let's show you just how great it looks. This is our view from Paducah. It's our Saladino and Shaft Sky Tracker network. We're just a couple of minutes away from this morning's sunrise, and look how terrific that view is. Oh my, it's going to be a good day for us with numbers a little warmer than yesterday. Comfortable this morning, heading out the door to 50s. We may still be in the 50s in some spots by 8 o'clock, mostly sunny. Mid-70s at noon and short sleeves again for this afternoon as high temperatures top out in the lower 80s. Could be a bit breezy later today. 5 to 10 on those morning winds, 10 to 15 on those afternoon winds. Perhaps some gusts above 20 in southeast Missouri. Well, tomorrow for the most part looks like another quiet day until we reach the evening hours of your Wednesday. We'll talk about some increasing shower and storm chances coming our way for later in the week in just a few minutes.
Well, John, thank you. Continuing coverage this morning. A former Tennessee teacher accused of kidnapping his student will be transferred back to the state in a few weeks. You remember Tad Cummins appeared in a federal court in California yesterday. He and a 15-year-old student were found in a remote cabin in California last week. The father of the girl has this message for Cummins.
If that's what he calls guidance, I think he's a very poor excuse for a teacher, an authority figure, a father, and in fact, he's a poor excuse for a human being.
Cummins faces both federal and state felony charges of kidnapping and sexual contact. He could spend a minimum of 10 years behind bars. Well, Arkansas became the first state in 17 years to execute 2 inmates on the same day and could execute one more on Thursday. Jack Jones, who's convicted of raping and killing a woman, was put to death first. Marcel Williams, also a convicted killer and rapist, received a temporary stay that was later lifted. Before a drug used to sedate the inmates expires, the state had planned 8 executions in 10 days. 4 men were granted stays. We are back to what's happening right now. The veterans from Southern Illinois, they are just minutes away from taking off on their honor flight, an exciting day for them. Local 6's Rachel Krause will be making this trip to Washington, D.C. with the group of veterans as they tour the monuments. Well, she's at the airport right now. She's been there all morning long. And Rachel, a lot of work went into making this trip possible for them. What was it?
It was no small feat organizing this first inaugural trip out of Veterans Airport of Southern Illinois today. Organizers spent months organizing and coordinating and getting all those donations in from around the community to make this trip possible for the 55 veterans and their guardians that are leaving from the airport later on this morning. There's going to be Korean War veterans, World War II veterans, some as old as 102 years old making the trip. For many of them, it'll be their first time out to Washington, D.C. to see the monuments and memorials that were built in their honor. Now, the flight leaves in just a few minutes. As you said, we're going to take off at about 6:30, and it is just going to be an action-packed day as we hit Washington, D.C. A little bit of rain, but we're going to make sure that we make this trip a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the veterans. Now, if you want to welcome them home, you can come to the Veterans Airport of Southern Illinois at 9 o'clock tonight and give them the welcome home that many of them never got after their service. Now, be sure to check in with me today, tomorrow, and on Thursday as we document the veterans' journey to Washington, D.C. Live in Marion, Illinois, Rachel Krause, WPSD, Local 6.
Well, Rachel, thank you. Again, we hope they have a great time. Look forward to hearing from you later on. And the veterans, as she mentioned, will be back home tonight. So go and welcome them back home. You can stop by the Veterans Airport of Southern Illinois. You can be there at 9 o'clock. Here's what's new this morning. There's a push to get the Trump administration to reinstate rules protecting student loan borrowers. Attorney generals from 20 states, including Illinois and Kentucky, are calling on Education Secretary Betsy DeVos to put the protections back in place. They help to make sure that borrowers get accurate information about their loans and repayment options. Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner wants to hear your child's concerns about their education. Rauner is asking students to post their questions about education to his Facebook page either now or during a live Facebook chat that will take place Thursday morning. Well, the governor says that the Facebook Live event is a way for him to connect to students that he isn't able to visit.
Now, weather on the 6s.
Pretty good sleeping weather last night as temperatures have dipped down into the 50s, but we're going to warm quickly as south winds start to blow today, and numbers as early as the noon hour will already be above what's an average high this time of the year. By the way, that average high only runs us in the lower 70s and will continue to climb right on through the course of the afternoon. Most of us will top out very near that 80-degree mark, but we've done that a few times already this spring. Paris and Huntington in northwest Tennessee, both spots at 50. Could see some fog near the Tennessee River this morning in northwest Tennessee and maybe even across parts of the Pennyrile in Kentucky as well. 52 right now in Hopkinsville. Paducah, you're at 56, and Mayfield and Murray both checking in at 54. Similar numbers here for Illinois and for Missouri from the Williamson County Airport in Marion right now. 55 degrees, and it's 54 for Metropolis and Cape Girardeau. Forecast for today, pretty quiet overall. Like yesterday, it'll be a day with a lot of sunshine, just a little more in the way of wind for the afternoon hours. Could be some wind gusts up above 20 miles per hour in southeast Missouri this afternoon, but it's a south wind. That means warm temperatures. 58 at 8 o'clock, 76 at noon, and lower 80s coming our way for that afternoon high. Won't be quite as cool tonight. We'll start tomorrow morning off in the lower 60s. Skies will be partly to mostly cloudy. And while I can't rule out generally a light shower chance at any point throughout the daylight hours tomorrow, it's really tomorrow evening when the threat for not only showers and thunderstorms pick up. We'll put the chance for rain during the day tomorrow at less than 20%. 63 at 8 o'clock on your Wednesday morning, moving into the mid-70s at noon and approaching 80 at 3. Some of you may touch 80 just depending on how much cloud cover we end up with. And be breezy as well. So as we get into tomorrow evening, here's what we're dealing with. A line of showers and storms will be arriving in southeast Missouri during the evening hours. But as we lose some of that instability later in the evening, we think a lot of that activity will start to weaken as it crosses the Mississippi River. And probably by about midnight or so tomorrow night, a lot of the thunderstorms will have just fallen apart and given way to just some showers. So our focus really is from about the Mississippi River westward into southeast Missouri for tomorrow evening. I'll take you through the hour-by-hour forecast and show you how things could play out coming up with our next Weather on the 6s.
John, thank you. Here's what's happening next. Family and friends will honor the life of Debbie Stevens this week. This is a story that we've been following now since December. Police say that Stevens' husband shot and killed her in Massac County back in December. She was a nurse at Baptist Health and at Lourdes Hospital. Well, a memorial service will be held Thursday at the Lady of Lourdes Chapel at Mercy Health in Paducah. Visitation is from noon to 1 with the funeral immediately after. Memorials may be given to Lourdes Hospital or ASPCA. Stevens' husband, Alan, pleaded guilty earlier this month to first-degree murder. He will serve 30 years in prison for her death. President Trump will sign an executive order today that will impact the farming industry. The order will establish a task force to review policies, legislation, and regulations that can stop growth in the industry. Well, the task force will have 180 days to make recommendations. Tomorrow, the president is expected to sign another executive order. It will require the Interior Department to review national monument designations made over the past 2 decades. Still ahead on Local 6, some traffic alerts for you. You're going to want to hear these where paving and bridge inspections are happening in our area today. Plus, The Rotary Quilt Show starts today. We'll tell you the hours and the price of admission, and then a group of veterans now preparing for a trip of a lifetime. This is a live look this morning at them getting ready for their honor flight. You're watching Local 6 Today. Stay with us. We're back in less than 3 minutes. Looking ahead now, the Rotary Antique Quilt Show opens today. Here's just a little bit of a look at some of the pieces that you can see on display at the Robert Cherry Civic Center. You can stop by from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock today through Friday, and then from 9 to 3 on Saturday. The price for admission is $7. Proceeds will benefit scholarships for Paducah and McCracken County high school students. Now to a Local 6 traffic alert this morning. If you take the Brookport Bridge on your commute, give yourself some extra time this week. Here's why. Daytime lane and load width restrictions will be in place on the bridge starting today. Crews will be doing an inspection on the bridge from 8 o'clock this morning until 5 this afternoon. Crews will be at the bridge until Thursday. Also, paving along Kentucky 139 in Trigg County. That could also slow you down. It's happening between I-24 and Cadiz. Now, crews are expected to be in the area for one day. Traffic could be down to one lane during the paving. Former President Obama is encouraging more people to get out and vote. He made that comment during his first public appearance since leaving the White House. Obama's presidential library is planned near the edge of the University of Chicago's campus. He hopes that it'll also serve as a place for young people to become more civically engaged.
People just aren't involved. They get cynical and they give up. And as a consequence, we have some of the lowest voting rates of any advanced democracy, and low participation rates then translate into a further gap between who's governing us and what we believe.
Obama went on to say that he believes the next generation will be able to mend the division in our country. The newly confirmed Secretary of Agriculture will be sworn in today. The Senate confirmed former Georgia Governor Sonny Perdue's nomination yesterday. Secretary Perdue is scheduled to address employees of the U.S. Department of Agriculture today. The 70-year-old served on the President's Agriculture Advisory Committee during his campaign. Well, a trip to the zoo turned into a memory of a lifetime for one couple in Nebraska, because this couple, they brought their children, they brought them to the zoo there for a day of fun. It's always fun at the zoo. Well, she went into labor a few weeks early and gave birth while waiting for the ambulance to get there.
I know she's gonna ask, like, Mom, where was I born at? I'm like, okay, you was born at the zoo.
You know, she was crying, you know, cooing, and it was just the most beautiful thing that a man could ever see. I mean, it was a truly blessed experience.
Well, the parents have already picked out a nickname for their baby girl. Wait for it. Pooh Bear. How cute is that? Mom and baby, they're expected to go home from the hospital today. Cute. Here are the top stories that we're tracking for you today. The U.S. envoy for North Korea says that he and his counterparts from Japan and South Korea have agreed to coordinate all actions on North Korea. After a meeting in Tokyo today, they agreed that all diplomatic, military, and economic actions on North Korea will be coordinated among the allies. Then President Trump is expected to sign another executive order today. It will impact the farming industry. Now, Trump will have signed 32 executive orders by Friday, the most of any president in their first 100 days since World War II. And then roads are closed and families are being evacuated from their homes as the sawmill fire in Arizona continues to burn. You see it there. It's grown now to 11 square miles and is only 5% contained. That fire started Sunday near the Santa Rita Mountains.
Now, weather on the 6s.
Weather Authority John Champion with us now. Not a bad day to go to the zoo today.
Not, yeah, that's what I was saying, going back to that baby story. I think every birthday now,
Yes.
that child has to go back to the zoo.
I was thinking that too. What a story for her.
That's true. Funny stuff. Let's talk about that forecast today.
Let's do it.
It's going to be warm, 80 degrees, maybe a little higher than that in some areas. But our focus for the second half of this week, Stephanie, will be the threat for showers and storms. The first chance, but certainly not the last, will be coming in tomorrow evening. And then another one on Friday, another one on Saturday, another one on Sunday. All this is going to add up as far as rainfall totals. We'll talk more about that coming up, but we may also see some periods of severe weather later this week too. Today though, it's a quiet day. 58 comfortable degrees at 8 o'clock this morning. Well into the 70s at noon. 76 your average number at noon. You can see our average high today is just 72 degrees. At about 80 for the ride home around 3, 4, 5 o'clock. We'll keep it mostly sunny. Maybe the only drawback to an otherwise gorgeous day is the fact it could be a bit breezy this afternoon. 5 to 15 on those winds in general today. But really the strongest winds will come in this afternoon. There could be some gusts in southeast Missouri up to around 20 or so. Let's push forward into your Wednesday hour-by-hour forecast because that's when the weather starts to get kind of active. I think the daylight hours tomorrow, outside of a stray light shower, pretty quiet. In fact, our model is really not even showing any rain during the day around here, but I can't rule something stray out as far as the light shower. But certainly tomorrow evening, the weather likely to get more active with a line of showers and storms coming into southeast Missouri by about 6 o'clock. At least that's the timing on our model right now. But notice what happens between 6 and midnight tomorrow. A lot of these showers and storms will weaken as they cross the Mississippi River. With that in mind, the best chance of seeing any severe weather, damaging winds, large hail would be in southeast Missouri. A strong storm east of the Mississippi River certainly possible, but again, the overall downward trend of those storms is some pretty good news for the rest of our area. Maybe a sprinkle and some clouds Thursday morning, but we do expect some clearing conditions as we get deeper into the day on Thursday. We'll leave Thursday dry right now, but more active weather coming for the end of the week. We'll put your chance for showers and storms here late tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening at 40%. Again, a little cooler and dry on Thursday, and then 77, a 40% chance for storms on Friday. Scattered storms again on Saturday, but look at that high, 84 to start the weekend. Then rain is most likely here on Sunday. That rain chance at 70%. And again, if we get these rounds and rounds of rain over the next several days, it is going to start to add up. You check the rainfall totals here, and we're talking maybe 2 to 4 inches of rain, with the highest totals perhaps coming into southeast Missouri. Dry weather returns to our region as we move into the early days of next week.
Next on Local 6 today, the plans to bring a drone manufacturing and testing facility to Kentucky. Plus, the top gifts you're expected to spend money on this Mother's Day. We'll be right back. Here's what's happening next. President Trump will be the keynote speaker at the Holocaust commemoration today at the U.S. Capitol. It's part of a week-long Days of Remembrance for the U.S. commemoration of the Holocaust. Now, a Holocaust survivor will light 6 candles this morning. The yearly event also recognizes the U.S. troops who liberated the Nazi concentration camps in 1945. First daughter Ivanka Trump will be in Berlin, Germany today for a women's conference there, and she hopes to build global support for women's economic empowerment programs. German Chancellor Angela Merkel invited Trump to the W20 summit. So you are expected to spend more on Mother's Day this year. A survey from the National Retail Federation says spending is expected to reach a record high of $23.6 billion. Shoppers will spend an average of about $186 to mark the holiday. Now, the increase is expected to be driven largely by spending on jewelry and personal services. Mother's Day is Sunday, May 14th. Don't forget. Or there's a new player in the world of virtual reality cameras. Google and a Chinese company are unveiling the Halo camera system. It's actually 17 cameras in one, weighs 7.5 pounds, and costs $18,000. Google is launching a program called Jumpstart. Filmmakers can apply for free cameras and use of that software. Well, plans are moving forward now to build a testing and manufacturing area in eastern Kentucky. Funding for USA Drone Port and Hazard is not secured. It's estimated to cost $12 million to $15 million to build and might be completed in phases. Now, we're told that the partners will look for funding from a variety of sources, including federal grants and foundations. Well, you're watching Local 6 today on this Tuesday. We still have a lot more to come, including a look at your forecast once again with Weather Authority John Champion. Stay with us. Your time is 6:24. We'll be right back. Hour here at 6:31. The entire U.S. Senate will be at the White House tomorrow for a briefing on the escalating situation with North Korea. Now, there will be delivered by 4 top administration officials, including Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, Defense Secretary Jim Mattis, and Director of National Intelligence Dan Coats. And we are learning that President Trump will sign an executive order Friday to expand offshore drilling. It will order a review of the locations available for offshore oil and gas exploration and also look at current regulations. Critics say that offshore drilling puts oceans and wildlife both at risk. Here's what's happening now. A group of veterans from Southern Illinois, well, they are still boarding a plane to take them to Washington, D.C. The Korean and World War II veterans are part of an honor flight leaving from the airport there in Marion. You see the plane. Now they will see the memorials and monuments built in their honor. Local 6's Rachel Krause is joining them on that flight. We hope they have a wonderful time. Continuing coverage now on the case against Tad Cummins. The Tennessee teen police say was kidnapped by Cummins. Her former teacher continues to recover this morning. Cummins will be extradited back to Tennessee in a couple of weeks. Well, a federal judge granted Cummins' request during a court appearance yesterday. You'll remember that he was found with the student last week in a small cabin in California. The teen's sister says that the family is glad to have their loved one back home, but hearing the details of her sibling's life on the run is troubling.
It's traumatic for us. It's traumatic to her. It's just hard to hear. And knowing, you know, they had no access to showers and bathrooms and they were eating very little, that's really traumatic.
Cummins is charged with transporting a minor across state lines for the purpose of sex. If convicted, he will spend at least 10 years in prison. And we're getting our first look at the damage a 6.9 magnitude earthquake caused. It's a story that we first started covering for you as breaking news last night at 5 o'clock. Tori Fitzgerald, she's from Mayfield, Kentucky. She's studying abroad this semester in Chile. Local 6's Todd Faulkner spoke with her last night over FaceTime, and she tells him that she knew that this one was worse than smaller ones in the past.
But this one was a lot stronger, and we all knew like this one could potentially end up being bad. So we opened our door to the outside. That's what we're supposed to do, and we all stood in the doorways, or we got under tables and just kind of sat there and just kind of embraced each other and was like, okay, it's gonna be fine. We can't freak out.
Fitzgerald and her friends are doing okay this morning. The initial assessment by Chile's emergency services was that the quake appeared to have caused no major damage. Well, this man charged with raping a minor will be in court today. Fulton County Sheriff's deputies say David Garrett had sex with a minor in 2015 and 2016. Now he's being held on a $50,000 cash bond. Garrett's first registered as a sex offender after a conviction for sexual battery in the state of Indiana. Deputies arrested Garrett earlier this month for using social media, which he is not allowed to do. Here's what's happening next. The Paducah Board of Commissioners will vote tonight on changing zoning for this section of Pecan Drive. Now, the vote was originally planned for last week, but was postponed to allow for a neighborhood meeting. Well, the company that owns the land wants to build a skilled nursing facility. This is a look at those plans. Now, some of you are concerned that it will ruin your neighborhood and decrease your property value. And a lot of you, will you let Mayor Brandy Harless know your thoughts at this neighborhood meeting? Again, this happened last night. You see how many people were there. Concerns that you brought up included noise, traffic, flooding, and just overall quality of life. McCracken County leaders are still working on a budget for the upcoming fiscal year. The first reading for the budget is happening next month. Now, last night, county leaders met with representatives from the county jail, Carson Park, animal control, and then the county clerk about their needs and possible cuts. Judge Executive Bob Leeper says discussions are preliminary. They will hold several more meetings. We have to wait a little longer for the smell from this plant to go away. We've been following this one since last year. Well, the plant in Union City, Tennessee, which recycles parts of dead animals, plans to fix the smell with a thermal oxidizer. The city manager tells us that there's an installation issue, but they're working to get that problem solved. We reached out to the company to find out when, but haven't heard back yet, but we'll let you know when we do. A bill to raise the gas tax to fund road projects in Tennessee now heads to the governor's desk. Bill Haslam's desk, to be exact. The House made the final changes yesterday. Well, the bill also cuts sales tax on groceries, corporate taxes, and manufacturers, and tax on earnings from stocks and bonds. Property tax relief for disabled veterans is also included in that bill. Former President George H.W. Bush may leave a Houston hospital by the end of the week. Bush is recovering now from what his spokesperson last week called a mild case of pneumonia. Well, the 92-year-old is in good spirits and continues to rest. Cuba is a place that is filled with traditions. Because of the past travel restrictions, few Americans have experienced those traditions. Now that's why many from our region welcomed a group called the IFCO to Carbondale yesterday. IFCO advocates for lifting the embargo with Cuba, and the group says that doing that could create opportunities for the U.S.
There's a lot of medical advances in Cuba. They have a burgeoning biomedical field, which has created a number of things that are unavailable here.
White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer says President Trump is reviewing all U.S. policies towards Cuba. IFCO plans to take U.S. citizens to Cuba in July.
Now, weather on the 6s.
Well, whether you're just getting the kids out the door to catch the bus this morning, or you're headed off for a little morning jog before going into work, or maybe just sitting out on the back porch and sipping a cup of coffee, it feels pretty good across the area. Not the chill that we had yesterday. It's comfortably cool this morning, but very few 40s to tell you about right now. In fact, Paris, Tennessee has been dropping back and forth from upper 40s to lower 50s. Right now in Henry County, it's 50 degrees. 50 in Hopkinsville, some fog in the area here in Christian County, so watch out for that, but it's not a widespread concern. 54 Murray, Mayfield, and for Union City. We find similar numbers here from Missouri and Illinois. Cairo and Marion both at 55. Cape Girardeau coming in at 54. Great looking Tuesday. Could be a little breezy this afternoon as those winds pick up, 10 to 15 for the afternoon. But you know what? It's a south wind today, and that means even warmer weather than what we saw yesterday, and still plenty of sunshine. So if you do grab an extra light layer, you won't need it very long. We go from 58 at 8 o'clock to already 70 at 10 o'clock this morning. You can see as we get into the afternoon hours, numbers right around 80 degrees, and we'll keep that mostly sunny forecast going from morning into the afternoon. How about your Wednesday? Well, tomorrow also a warmer than average day, but we will see more clouds. It'll be breezy really throughout the day with south to southwest winds at 10 to 20 and maybe some higher gusts. And I can't rule out a stray shower at any given hour during the day tomorrow, but it's going to be tomorrow evening and maybe early into the overnight when chances for rain will start to pick up. 63 at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, 78 your temperature at 3. And here is a look at our severe weather outlook. Really for our region, it's Wednesday evening. We are thinking that some storms will move into southeast Missouri around 5, 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. But as they progress through the midnight hour eastward and cross the Mississippi River, they should gradually be weakening. So our threat for severe weather most prevalent here in southeast Missouri. Gusty winds, some large hail, of course, the always dangerous lightning, our main threats tomorrow night. We have some additional storm chances for the end of the week. You'll want to be aware of those. I'll share them with you coming up with our next weather on the 6s.
Still ahead on Local 6 today, increasing your brain power as you get older. The way a 45-minute exercise can improve your mental health. Plus, giving your child food to calm them down may put their health at risk. The problems doctors say could develop as they age. Then this woman is one of the original volunteers at the quilt show in Paducah. You'll hear how she kept the visitors in line and her life story. That's coming up. Your time right now, 6:40. You're watching Local 6 today.
Your breaking news and weather authority with Mike Mallory, Michaela Bruner, Stephanie Martinez, and weather authority John Champion. You're watching Local 6 today in high definition.
Our live coverage continues this morning. The plane is on the move. It's carrying Korean and World War II veterans, all making the trip to Washington, D.C. this morning. They'll be heading there today to take a look at monuments there, all in their honor in Washington, D.C. Local 6's Rachel Krause. She's on that plane with them. Again, they are getting ready to leave the airport there in Marion, Illinois. And Rachel will have more for us. You can catch her through her posts on Facebook and Twitter and social media, and of course on our web channel, WPSDlocal6.com. She'll have more also tonight and tomorrow morning. We hope they have a good time.
You're watching WPSD Local 6.
Today's my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. Guess how old I am?
Are you 99?
Close.
Oh, well, Mike is away today because, as you just heard, it is his birthday. Happy birthday, Mike. And he's going to see Tom Petty and Joe Walsh tonight. But he's also been rocking out with that woman who just had that milestone birthday and who also has a very special connection to Quilt Week. Take a listen.
On April 6, 1917, America officially declared war on Germany. The First World War was on. On the very same day, Reva Davenport was born in Lowe's, Kentucky.
I'm only 100.
Only? She can't remember the first time she picked up a needle and thread, but just about everyone in her family has a quilt from Reva.
That was a job, but I did it. I wasn't doing nothing else, so I made quilts.
Don't let her fool you. Reva was doing a lot. She sewed upholstery and cars for General Motors when she and her first husband moved to Detroit. She's lived a full life, 3 marriages, lots of travel, and maybe just a hint of scandal. She actually owned a bar for a while in Michigan.
You ever drink a hot toddy?
Well, sure.
We should point out that Reva's also always been a woman of faith and humor, like when I asked her about being the oldest active member of her church.
Did you go to church there? St. John's?
Yeah, on Sunday.
Okay.
In the mid-'80s, Reva returned to her Western Kentucky roots, and that just happened to be when Bill and Meredith Schrader started the quilt show in Paducah. She was one of the original volunteers.
You meet a lot of people, and you can see that they don't touch the quilts.
What would you do, like smack their hands or what?
I'd say, don't touch them.
If you tried to piece together a quilt to tell the life of Reva Davenport Hobbs Verschuren, you'd need a very colorful pattern. In Paducah, with photographer Jason Thomason, Mike Mallory, WPSD Local 6.
Reva, we need to sit down and have a hot toddy. Now, Reva and her family, they hope to see her face on the Smucker's jar during the Today Show, but didn't hear back from NBC, so we thought we would do our part here. So here you go, Reva. It's the next best thing, I think. It's the Local 6 Today Smucker's jar, and we got her whole name on there. Take a look. Reva says that she can't quilt anymore, but she stays pretty active. She gets a 15-minute walk-in every day. Reva, happy birthday to you. In health headlines this morning, you might want to think twice about caving into your little one's demands for snacks. A new study shows that extra cookie or candy could give them unhealthy eating habits on down the line. Researchers found that children whose parents offered them food for comfort at the age of 4 and 6 were more likely to be emotional eaters by age 10. Emotional eating increases the risk of obesity and is linked to the development of eating disorders. Aerobic and resistance training can help boost brain power in older adults. So get moving. A new study found exercise benefited people over 50 regardless of their current brain health. Aerobic exercise helped thinking skills. Strength training had a significant effect on memory and mental skills that help you get things done. Researchers say that seniors should exercise as many days of the week as possible for at least 45 minutes.
Now, weather on the 6s.
Hi, everybody. Another quiet day coming our way and warmer than yesterday. 50s now, 70s for your lunch hour at noon, and about 80 for the ride home later today. The only drawback to an otherwise very, very nice forecast is it will be a bit breezy this afternoon, generally 10 to 15 on those south winds later today, but there could be some gusts in southeast Missouri, upwards of about 20, 25 miles per hour. 81 will be my high today. We'll leave that lifestyle index in the green category. 60 my low tonight, a quiet night coming your way, so lifestyle index stays in the green as well. But tomorrow is a little bit of a different story. Now, most of tomorrow will be just fine. As we head into the evening hours, though, shower and thunderstorm chances will start to pick up. Let's take you through that hour-by-hour forecast, and we'll start off at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And while you're not going to see any rain in our area between 8 and about 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, I can't rule out a stray shower or a sprinkle, but no thunderstorms during the day tomorrow. And I think the coverage of rain at any given hour during the day tomorrow is really 20% or less. But notice as we push from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, a line of thunderstorms will be coming into southeast Missouri. Some of these could be strong or severe. Gusty winds, large hail, of course, the always dangerous lightning, our main threats for tomorrow. But as we move between 6 o'clock and midnight tomorrow night, notice as these storms cross the Mississippi River, they lose a bit of their punch. We do expect them to weaken east of the Mississippi, so we really think southeast Missouri stands the better chance of seeing some of that severe weather. A strong storm or two can't be rolled out east of there in Illinois, Kentucky, and Tennessee, but right now it looks like southeast Missouri catches the worst of the weather tomorrow evening. We're back to dry conditions outside of maybe an early morning sprinkle on Thursday. Clouds will be decreasing through the day. It will be cooler on Thursday. High temperatures may not get out of the 60s for many of us. All right, let's give you a look at your 3-day planning forecast now. The weather for the end of the week looks to be fairly active. Tomorrow night, just the first chance of storms this week. 81 today, 78 tomorrow. And again, we're focusing the evening hours for that chance for showers and storms on Wednesday. There's your Thursday forecast, a high of 68. Scattered storms, some of those could be strong on Friday. Scattered storms, some of those could be strong on Saturday. And then numerous showers and storms on Sunday. As temperatures start to cool down early next week and return to dry weather, but that may not happen until we're all headed back to work or school. More Local 6 today. We've got another 10 minutes coming up right after this break.
We're back now with a Local 6 consumer alert here at 6:52. We are now just 11 days away from the Kentucky Derby, and if you are on the hunt for that last-minute ticket, we have this advice from the Better Business Bureau to make sure that the ticket is real. Check out the business. Read their business review on the BBB's website and check for complaints against said business, and consider the source. If you are applying online, make sure that they are a member of the National Association of Ticket Brokers and see if they offer a guarantee on the tickets. And use a credit card whenever possible. Many credit cards offer buyer protection and then let you challenge a charge. If you are asked to wire money directly to the seller or pay by gift cards or prepaid debit cards, stay away. Don't do it. Well, Samsung is promising to fix a red tint problem found by some users of the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus smartphones. They say that the displays have a reddish tint. Samsung says that the tint is due to natural variation in displays, and an update next week will give users control over their screen color. Longhorn Steakhouse will be coming to where the old Ryan's restaurant now stands in Paducah. City spokesperson Pam Spencer says that they will likely demolish it and then build a new restaurant there on Hinkleville Road. Well, this means that crews will probably demolish it and start construction on that new building. We've reached out to Longhorn Steakhouse to ask about the timeline and what they're expecting on the opening date and other details, but we have not heard back from them. Now for a pretty incredible story out of Knoxville, Tennessee this morning, when a father takes a big leap of faith during an apartment fire. One firefighter who was there says that a father pleaded with him to save his 2-month-old baby from a 4th-floor window.
He had the child in his hand, and I noticed all the smoke that was coming out, and I didn't want the baby taking in a lot of smoke. So for some reason I said, drop him, I'll catch him. He trusted me for some reason. By far the scariest thing I've ever done.
Oh, talk about a leap of faith. Well, the baby was not injured and is doing okay. 2 others, though, were hurt in that fire. The cause still under investigation. Don't go anywhere. At 6:54, we'll be right back.
Forecast for Sunday.
Good morning. Coming up on a Tuesday here on Today, President Trump stepping back from demanding money for his long-promised wall, trying to avoid a government shutdown. Will that be enough to satisfy Democrats on Capitol Hill? We'll have the latest.
Also ahead, we've got new video of that passenger dragging incident on the United flight. You're going to want to see this.
And then Faye Dunaway breaks her silence on the Oscars Best Picture fiasco, what she's revealing about that infamous moment in an exclusive interview with Lester Holt.
Got those stories and a lot more when we see you on a Tuesday morning here on Today.
Before you go, the Rotary Antique Quilt Show opens today. You can stop by the Robert Terry Civic Center. The hours are from 9 to 6 today through Friday and from 9 to 3 on Saturday. The price for admission, $7. Proceeds will benefit scholarships for Paducah and McCracken County High School students. Then the Paducah Board of Commissioners will vote tonight on changing zoning for the section of Pecan Drive. The company that owns the land wants to build a skilled nursing facility. Well, thanks for watching Local 6 today on this Tuesday. The Today Show is next. Have a great day.